Have you ever felt like you're giving your best, but people still overlook you? You're working hard, staying kind, staying loyal, but somehow you're not seen, not appreciated, not valued. What if the solution isn't to try harder to impress others, but to become someone who naturally commands respect and admiration from within? In this video, we'll uncover 10 timeless Stoic strategies used by philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus to help you become more valuable, both personally and professionally, not by seeking applause, but by mastering your character, your craft, and your choices. Because in Stoicism, value isn't something you chase, it's something you build from the inside out. Number 1. Master your craft. In today's world, everyone seems to be chasing instant success, fast results, quick recognition, and the desire to be seen. But the Stoics teach us something different. They remind us that true value doesn't come from applause. It comes from excellence. And excellence begins when you decide to master your craft, not for others, but for yourself. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, don't just dream, commit. Choose who you want to become, and then take full responsibility for building that version of yourself, one action at a time. To a Stoic, your work is not just a task. It's a form of discipline, a daily practice of virtue. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful men, never wrote his famous meditations to impress anyone. He wrote them as a form of inner training, to keep himself humble, focused, and grounded. He knew that mastery isn't public, it's personal. It happens in quiet moments of repetition. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, he wrote. In the same way, don't talk about how great you want to be at your craft, just show up and do the work. Seneca believed that true greatness doesn't need to announce itself. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor, he said. The same applies to recognition. If you're constantly craving approval, you'll always feel invisible. But if you focus on doing your work well, really well, others will begin to value you, not because you demanded attention, but because you earned trust. And remember this from Epictetus: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Let your commitment to your craft reflect your values. Let your precision, your care, and your consistency speak louder than your words. Because in a world filled with shortcuts and surface-level effort, those who quietly master their craft will always stand out. So don't chase validation, chase mastery. Learn deeply, practice deliberately, improve constantly. Over time, people will notice, but more importantly, you'll notice. You'll become stronger, more confident, and more respected, not just for what you do, but for how you do it. Number 2, cultivate strong communication skills. The Stoics knew that our words have power, not just to express, but to connect, to influence, and to lead. In today's world, where people often talk more than they listen, communication that is clear, calm, and honest stands out. It's not about sounding impressive. It's about speaking with intention, listening with presence, and creating real understanding. Epictetus reminds us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. That's not just a clever observation, it's a blueprint for becoming more valuable to others. When you truly listen, without rushing to respond or waiting for your turn to talk, people feel seen. And in a world starved for attention, That's a rare and powerful gift. The Stoics also taught us that how we speak reflects who we are. Seneca warned against harsh, reactive language. He believed that self-control should extend to our speech as much as our actions. Speech, he said, reveals the state of the soul. If your words are always sharp or careless, it's a sign of something unresolved inside. But when your words are thoughtful and grounded, others will trust your presence and your judgment. Strong communication is more than just talking well. It's about emotional intelligence. It means you know how to respond instead of react. It means you choose clarity over cleverness, empathy over ego. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" That kind of humility can transform the way you speak to others, because it begins with how you see yourself. Whether you're leading a team, navigating conflict, or building relationships, your communication shapes how others experience you. Speak with calm confidence. Listen without interruption. Ask better questions. And when you do speak, speak with purpose. Your ability to clearly express yourself while also making others feel heard will make you stand out in any room. So don't just work on what you say. Work on how you listen. Don't just try to win arguments. Try to understand. In a noisy world, your calm, honest voice becomes a signal through the chaos. And that's the kind of voice people follow. Respect and remember. Number 3, foster meaningful relationships. To the Stoics, relationships were never about popularity or status. They were about virtue, trust, and shared humanity. True connection, they believed, begins when you treat others with integrity, not because you want something from them, but because it's the right thing to do. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This wasn't about surrounding yourself with perfect people. It was about mutual growth. Every strong relationship, whether personal or professional, should be a space where both people are committed to becoming better. And what builds trust faster than anything else? Consistency. Epictetus taught that we should never act differently in private than we do in public. He believed in aligning your words with your actions, no matter who's watching. Because when you are dependable, when people know they can rely on your word, you naturally become more valued in their lives. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to meet others with patience. He wrote, "Whenever you are offended at someone's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." This shift from judgment to empathy is a hallmark of Stoic wisdom. When you stop reacting and start understanding, your relationships become deeper, more resilient, and more meaningful. Authenticity is key. The Stoics weren't interested in charm or manipulation. They valued truth. Be honest about who you are. Don't try to impress, try to connect. Don't try to be liked. Try to be genuine. That's what draws people in. Not perfection, but presence. Not performance, but honesty. So if you want to be more valued by others, start by being a person of value. Show up, listen deeply, support quietly, forgive freely. Build others up without expecting anything in return. Because when people feel safe, seen, and supported around you, they'll naturally begin to value you. Not just for what you do, but for who you are. Number 4, take initiative and ownership. One of the most powerful traits you can develop in any area of life is taking full responsibility for your actions and your growth. The Stoics believed that we must own our lives completely, not as victims. of circumstance, but as active participants in our destiny. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." What does this mean in practice? It means that even when things go wrong, and they will, you have the power to choose how you respond. You are not a passive observer in your own life. You are the author of your story. And the first step in writing a meaningful story is taking ownership of your actions. Epictetus taught that we should never blame others or circumstances for our situation. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The Stoics understood that we can't control everything, but we can control how we show up. Taking ownership is about recognizing that the quality of your life is shaped by the choices you make every single day. Taking initiative goes hand in hand with ownership. Don't wait for permission to do what needs to be done. Lead where you stand. If you see a problem, don't just point it out. Solve it. If something needs attention, give it your focus. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, Marcus wrote. This wisdom applies here. Instead of waiting for others to act or for circumstances to change, be the one who takes the first step. Be proactive, not reactive. Set the pace for yourself and those around you. Seneca once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Often, the hardest part of any task is just starting. But once you take that first step, once you take full ownership of your goals and actions, things begin to move in your favor. By taking initiative and ownership, you build trust. Others see you as someone who doesn't just talk about solutions but actively works to create them. You show that you are reliable, accountable, and not afraid to take responsibility, even when it's uncomfortable. So the next time you see an opportunity for growth, don't wait for it to come to you. Seize it. Take ownership of your actions and your path. In doing so, you'll not only become more valuable to others, but you'll also realize just how much control you have over your own life. Number 5. Champion collaboration and teamwork. In a world that often celebrates the individual, the Stoics understood the immense value of working together. They believed that collaboration wasn't just a way to achieve goals. It was a way to grow as a person. True wisdom comes not from doing everything alone, but from recognizing the strength in unity, in shared effort, and in the collective pursuit of virtue. Epictetus once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." When it comes to teamwork, this quote reminds us that fear of others, fear of collaboration, of relying on someone else's efforts, often holds us back more than the actual experience itself. We fear conflict, differences, or the idea that someone else might let us down. But the Stoic view is different. Rather than seeing others as obstacles, we are encouraged to see them as opportunities for growth. Every team member has something to teach you, even if it's through their flaws or mistakes. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And to be master of yourself in a team setting means you must be able to listen, compromise, and value different perspectives. In collaboration, the Stoics would remind you, it's not about being the smartest, the loudest, or the most powerful. It's about working with others to bring about the best possible outcome for everyone. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master, Seneca also noted, which suggests that leadership isn't about control, but service. Serve the team, and the team will serve you. Marcus Aurelius, a leader who faced countless challenges, in both battle and governance, often reflected on the importance of community. "What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee," he wrote. When you champion collaboration, you understand that success is rarely achieved in isolation. Every individual effort contributes to the greater whole, and the team's success becomes your success. By recognizing that everyone's contribution matters, you create an environment where mutual respect thrives, and each member feels valued. So how do you become a better collaborator? First, you must listen deeply. Pay attention to others' ideas and acknowledge their strengths. Second, put the collective good above individual recognition. When everyone is focused on the success of the group grows stronger. And finally, embrace humility. You won't always be right, and that's okay. Be open to learning from others just as much as you expect them to learn from you. In Stoic philosophy, teamwork is about unity of purpose. It's about coming together to pursue something greater than any one individual. So, as you work with others, remember that true strength lies not in dominance, but in cooperation. Be the teammate who uplifts, who listens, and who works towards the shared vision of the team. By doing so, you'll find that the value you bring to others will grow exponentially. Number 6, develop a personal brand. In a world filled with noise and distractions, your personal brand is your way of standing out, of expressing who you are and what you stand for. The Stoics believed that true value doesn't come from external validation or seeking approval from others. Instead, it comes from understanding yourself deeply, being consistent in your actions, and living with integrity. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself of the importance of authenticity. He wrote, "What is your profession? To be a good man. And how can you do that? By being yourself with purpose and consistency." Your personal brand is built on your values, your actions, and your consistency. It's not about impressing others or trying to fit into a mold. It's about being authentic and living in alignment with your deepest principles. Epictetus famously said, "Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Before you can develop a strong personal brand, you must know yourself. What are your values? What principles guide your life? When you know who you truly are, the way you show up in the world becomes effortless because you're acting in alignment with your authentic self. Your personal brand is also a reflection of your virtue. The Stoics didn't care about flashy appearances. They cared about the content of one's character. As Seneca put it, a good character is not made in a day, but it can be forged by consistency. If you want to build a personal brand that others respect, let your actions speak louder than your words. Be honest, be disciplined, and stay true to your commitments. Your reputation will naturally grow as others see you living your values. And remember, your personal brand is not a one-time effort. It's a lifelong pursuit. It's built through every interaction, every decision, and every step you take. Be the kind of person who consistently shows up with integrity, humility, and courage. Over time, this creates a brand that is built on trust and authenticity. Seneca wisely said, "No man was ever wise by chance." Your personal brand, like wisdom, is something you create intentionally through every choice you make and every action you take. So instead of focusing on what others think of you, focus on who you truly want to be. And when you do that, your personal brand will naturally evolve, growing stronger and more respected with each day. Number 7, go the extra mile. In Stoic philosophy, excellence is not about doing the bare minimum. It's about doing more than what's expected and striving to exceed what's necessary. Marcus Aurelius believed that we should approach each day as an opportunity to contribute to the greater good, not for recognition, but because it's simply the right thing to do. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The Stoics understood that your actions, not your words, define who you are. By consistently going above and beyond, you become a person others naturally rely on and admire. The true value of going the extra mile lies in its impact. When you do just enough, you may meet expectations, but you won't stand out. However, when you exceed expectations, when you show up fully and give more than what's required, your efforts leave a lasting impression. This act of giving more isn't for praise or attention. Instead, it reflects your commitment to personal excellence and contributing to the world in a meaningful way. Seneca, in his letters, emphasized that we should always strive to offer more value than we take. A man is a good man who is always looking to give more than he receives. Going the extra mile isn't about seeking a reward. It's about demonstrating your character through action. Whether it's helping a colleague, offering assistance without being asked, or contributing to a project in ways that go unnoticed, it's these small but consistent acts that build your value in the eyes of others. By taking this approach, you also challenge yourself to grow. Going the extra mile means pushing your limits, developing new skills, and constantly improving. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And one of the ways to master yourself is by demanding more of yourself, not because you're seeking external validation, but because you know it will make you better, more competent, and more capable. Going the extra mile is also about showing commitment. It's about demonstrating that you care about the work you do, the people you serve, and the impact you make. When others see that you consistently give more than expected, they'll begin to trust you, depend on you, and recognize your value. So whether you're in a job, a relationship, or a personal pursuit, always remember, excellence isn't measured by what you do when it's easy, but by what you do when it's hard. Going the extra mile is about mastery, integrity, and purpose, and it's how you earn the lasting respect and admiration of those around you. Number 8, advocate for yourself. Advocating for yourself isn't about arrogance or self-promotion. It's about standing firm in your worth, ensuring that your needs are met, and recognizing your value in the world. The Stoics believed in self-respect and self-awareness, both of which are essential for effectively advocating for yourself without crossing into pride or entitlement. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you advocate for yourself, you take control of your narrative. You don't wait for someone else to recognize your value. You assert it confidently and respectfully. Advocating for yourself means having the courage to ask for what you deserve, whether it's fair compensation for your work, recognition for your contributions, or simply being treated with respect. But how do you advocate without falling into arrogance or selfishness? The Stoics emphasize the importance of humility in all actions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself to always be mindful of his purpose and to avoid getting caught up in praise or criticism. He said, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. To truly advocate for yourself, you must be grounded in your own purpose and act with integrity. This means asking for what you need or deserve, not because you want attention or admiration, but because you understand that you are worthy of fair treatment and respect. Seneca also believed that self-advocacy was a key to personal growth. He wrote, "A man is not good because of the good he does, but because of the good he accepts." In other words, by advocating for yourself, you recognize your inherent worth and do not accept less than you deserve. This is not about demanding perfection from others, but about knowing your own value and setting boundaries that reflect that understanding. Another important aspect of advocating for yourself is communication. You don't need to shout or be overly forceful to be heard. Stoic wisdom teaches that clear, thoughtful, and respectful communication is the most powerful way to express your needs. By calmly articulating your desires, expectations, and boundaries, you demonstrate both self-respect and emotional intelligence, a key trait that helps you navigate even the most challenging conversations with grace and confidence. Advocating for yourself also means not being afraid to push back when necessary. It's about recognizing when something isn't right for you and standing firm in your decision to protect your time, energy, and well-being. It's not about fighting for ego. It's about fighting for what aligns with your principles, your goals, and your values. In the end, the Stoic approach to self-advocacy is one of balance. Know your worth. Speak up for what you need, but do so with humility, respect, and clarity. When you practice this kind of self-advocacy, you won't just gain respect from others, you'll also cultivate self-respect, which is the most important form of all. Number 9. Develop emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is one of the most important skills you can cultivate, not only for personal growth, but for building lasting relationships and effectively navigating the world around you. The Stoics were masters of emotional regulation. They didn't suppress their emotions, but rather understood them and chose how to respond in a way that aligned with their values and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reminded himself to control his emotions. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What does this mean in the context of emotional intelligence? It means that while you can't control every emotion that arises, you can control how you react to those emotions. By choosing a response that reflects your principles, you align yourself with the Stoic ideal of living with virtue and wisdom. Epictetus believed that emotions themselves aren't bad, but our reaction to them can be. We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. This quote is key to understanding emotional intelligence. It's not the event itself that causes stress, anger, or frustration, but how we interpret the event. By reframing our thoughts, we can control our emotional responses and avoid being slaves to negative emotions. Developing emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness. You must understand your own emotions, what triggers them, how they manifest, and how they influence your behavior. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Many times our emotional reactions are rooted in exaggerated thoughts or misinterpretations. By practicing mindfulness and self-reflection, you can begin to recognize these patterns and choose more measured responses." Emotional intelligence also involves empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Stoicism teaches that we should not only focus on our own emotional state, but also be attuned to the emotions of those around us. By understanding what others are going through, we can respond with compassion and grace, creating deeper connections and reducing conflicts. Another important aspect of emotional intelligence is impulse control. Stoics believed in taking a moment to pause before reacting. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you are about to be angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what is this anger going to accomplish?" This simple practice of pausing and reflecting before reacting can transform your emotional life. It allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, and to act in a way that's aligned with your values. Developing emotional intelligence also means being gracious under pressure. In challenging situations, the Stoics taught that we should aim to remain calm, composed, and focused on our goals. By managing our emotions, we can make clearer decisions and maintain our dignity, no matter what's happening around us. Ultimately, emotional intelligence isn't about eliminating emotions. It's about managing them wisely. It's about understanding your own emotional landscape, empathizing with others, and choosing responses that promote growth, connection, and peace. By following the Stoic path of emotional mastery, you'll find that you not only improve your own life, but also become a source of stability and support for those around you. Number 10. Embrace continuous learning. One of the core teachings of Stoic philosophy is the pursuit of wisdom. The Stoics believed that life is a continuous process of growth and improvement, and one of the most effective ways to become more valuable to others is by embracing the mindset of a lifelong learner. They didn't see learning as something you do only in school or at a specific time in your life. For them, it was a constant pursuit that should permeate everything you do. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple advice reminds us that learning begins with listening. By being open to the ideas and experiences of others, we gain insights that help us grow, refine our perspectives, and expand our understanding of the world. The key to becoming more valuable to others is to keep an open mind, listen actively, and absorb knowledge from every source. The Stoics didn't just advocate for intellectual learning, they also emphasized learning through experience. Marcus Aurelius reflected on his own life and said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every obstacle you encounter in life is an opportunity to learn. Instead of avoiding challenges, embrace them, for they provide valuable lessons that help you become stronger and wiser. By viewing difficulties as learning experiences, you transform setbacks into stepping stones. Seneca also believed that knowledge is key to living a virtuous life. He said, "While we wait for life, life passes us by." To fully live is to constantly seek growth, not just through formal education, but through a willingness to adapt and seek new insights every day. By actively pursuing knowledge, whether through reading, engaging with new people, or reflecting on your experiences, you position yourself to become better equipped for the challenges that come your way. Continuous learning also means being humble enough to admit that there is always something new to learn. It requires shedding the ego and recognizing that no matter how much you know, there is always room for improvement. Stoicism teaches that true wisdom is in understanding the limits of your own knowledge. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Life is opinion." This suggests that life is constantly evolving, and to stay relevant and valuable to others, you must also evolve by embracing new ideas and adapting to change. the pursuit of knowledge also means applying what you learn. Stoicism is a practical philosophy, and its wisdom is meant to be applied in daily life. Don't just collect information, use it to improve yourself, help others, and solve problems. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The ability to learn and apply what you've learned is what gives you the resilience and wisdom to handle life's challenges with grace. Finally, remember that learning is a lifelong journey. The Stoics were lifelong students of life, always eager to grow, adapt, and improve. By embracing this mindset, you continually increase your value, not only to others, but also to yourself. Every new lesson is an opportunity to improve, to become more virtuous, and to contribute more meaningfully to the world around you. As we wrap up today's video, remember that true value doesn't come from external validation, but from developing your inner virtues and striving for excellence in everything you do. The Stoic strategies we've covered, whether it's mastering your craft, advocating for yourself, or embracing continuous learning, are all aimed at helping you become a person who contributes meaningfully to the world, not for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. If you're committed to applying these Stoic principles, you'll see that your personal and professional value will grow, not because you're seeking approval, but because you're grounded in wisdom, integrity, and authenticity. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more practical Stoic wisdom that can transform your life. And as always, leave a comment below with your thoughts, or share which Stoic strategy resonated with you the most. Thank you for watching, and remember, true value is built from within. Keep striving, keep growing, and live with purpose.